Hello and welcome to Groove, Sing, and All the Things. I'm your host, Amy Hailstone. On a recent podcast and blog post, I talked about why it's important to learn bar chords when you're learning to play your guitar, and I pointed out 3 reasons why you should indeed learn them. This week, I'd like to share 5 tips to make the process a little bit easier when you're learning your bar chords. So that's what we're going to talk about on the podcast today. Again, I'm Amy from Amyhailstone Studios. I'm a vocal and performance coach, a guitar teacher, recording artist. I've been teaching guitar for over 30 years. I've been a vocal and performance coach for nearly a decade, and I love to teach my students how to play and sing with less tension and more freedom. Let's jump into the episode today. Whether you're learning guitar to be a guitarist or to accompany yourself as a singer, which you're still a guitarist, but your goal is to accompany yourself, or you're a songwriter, you want to be able to have more choices when you're writing your songs, learning bar chords will help open up your creativity and your artistic choices. So, number 1, it's pretty simple. Keep your wrist as neutral as possible. So, this, not this. So we want this, not this. Just remember your goal is to keep your wrist as neutral as possible. You will have to bend it, but you never want a sharp angle. So number 2 is you don't have to press as hard as you think you do. So in fact, just a bit of pressure will do. As long as your guitar is set up properly and you're not fighting against the string, pushing the strings down because they're far from the fretboard, using too much pressure is going to cause your strings to sound muted and will cause you fatigue in the long run. And gravity plays a big role here, and so let it help you. So what do I mean by letting gravity do some of the work here? You might want to practice your bar chord like on the 5th fret, rather than the 1st at first, like we spoke about last week. When I'm playing this bar chord, your finger can go over the edge of, past the 6th string as well, because you're going to have to find how you want to keep that finger straight when you're playing the E shape. So I'm laying my fingers on the string and I'm applying some pressure. There's pressure with the thumb and the fingers, and it's just like this. It's not like this, okay? I'm not squeezing that. That causes tension all the way up the arm to the elbow to the shoulder. Just try to nip that in the bud right away. Take your hand away, put it down, apply. It's slight. It's really slight. Like, it's not like, it's less than you think. So less is more when it comes to that. And at first, yes, you will feel like you are squeezing and pushing and pressing. But if you can think, I don't need to work that hard, that's going to set you up for less work and more success, basically. Number 3, if not barring, use your fingertips. So if my first finger is going to be barred, the rest of my fingers are going to be curved, and I think of like a cat's claw, okay? That will ensure that if you're more on the fleshy part of the fingers, you're going to have some things that don't ring. So first index finger straight, other fingers are curved, because you've got fingers in the same fret there. You need to make room for it. So think about that. Your other fingers are going to be curved. This will keep the fleshy part of the finger from touching the string directly behind it and causing it to mute. So when you think of that cat claw and mimic that sort of shape, when using the fingers in the bar chords, it sounds silly, but it works. So number 4, play each string individually and listen for it to ring. When you first start playing your bar chords, you might be sounding a little, so something's not ringing in that, right? So I got to figure out which one. So let's say it sounds like that. So what do I need to adjust my hand. So on the A shape, your bar is with your 3rd finger. So I adjust my hand. I get that. You're also going to want to be really close to the fret there. Your first finger is actually, you just need that root note. So when listening for those strings to ring, keep adjusting your hand. The movements are very slight. Keep letting them ring. Take the hand away, put it back. And really you could just lift up, put it back, lift up, put it back, okay? There's different ways to do it, but you want to do it over and over and over. Number 5 is adjust that index finger. You're just going to have to at first. then you won't have to think about it too much, but think about your first finger, it's being the nut. You're moving this nut. So basically you can play your open chords all over the neck. Think about that like if it was a capo. That's what a capo does, just moving that nut around so you can play your open chords. On the E bar chord, again, you're going to keep it straight, maybe lean towards the headstock a little bit. You're going to feel it on that knuckle, the more bony part of the finger. So it's not straight down. It's more, here's the deal. Everyone's different. Everyone's body is different. So you're going to have to just figure out, how can I put my first finger down? And it doesn't have to be end right at the front. Again, it can go over it's going to be all across this part of your finger, the bony part of your finger. More the outer part of your finger, not the inner part of your finger. So that is a trial and error situation with the index finger. So experiment with that and you'll get it. Why is that the E shape? Because you see the E shaped chord right here in the middle. Sorry, you can't see my hand. There it goes. That allows me to move that E shape anywhere. Okay? Now, when I want to make that minor, all I have to do is lift the second finger. Okay? So that's like moving the E minor, open E minor. Anywhere you want. And so the A-shaped bar chord, moving that A, we still see that A shape, those three notes right there, but underneath the third finger. So in order to make that minor, I have to flat that third, which this note on the second string has to go down a half step, which is going to cause me to have to do a different fingering move my hand a little bit for the minor chord. Okay? And again, I'm not really barring that first finger, that index finger. This one, if you want that high E to ring, go ahead. But the most important are those inner four strings. So bar chords allow you to get very rhythmic. And like I said in last week's show, or the show about bar chords, give you many choices of where to play on the neck. So before we finish up with the last tip on how to play bar chords easier, I'd like to offer you a gift for spending time with me today. For the singers, I've got an exclusive video called 3 Secrets and Exercises, an introduction to finding more freedom and less tension in your singing. And I would love for you to take advantage of that. I think it could help set you up for success. Just access that video at amyhailstone.com/3secrets. And for the guitar players, I've got the video 5 things every new guitar player needs to know. This will help you set you up for success on your playing journey. Please access that video at amyhailstone.com/5 things. Tip number 5 is to play 2 different bar chords shapes in a row. Before you building into like a chord progression of 3 or 4 chords, just take 2. For example, I was just playing the E minor or the A minor E shape and the D minor A shape. So let's make them major. Let's say you're going to play the A major chord on the 5th fret. It's an E shape. And then right next door, a 4th up, you're going to play the D chord, which you're using the A shape. So you're going back from A to D. So before you even add any rhythm, actually, just 4 downstrokes. Make sure they all ring. And if you start to play the A, and you get something's not ringing, take your hand, put it back, adjust. Okay, they're all ringing. Now I can do my 4 beats, 2, 3, go to the D. If it's not ringing, what are you gonna do? You're gonna just adjust. So if you're getting that, oh, okay, well, Something's not right with my first finger. Okay, let me adjust that. Okay. So whenever something doesn't ring or something doesn't sound right, you start over. And then hopefully you'll get the two smoothly together, just over and over and over. Okay? Now, let's say you want to play a G to an E minor. So it's a little bit of a jump. A little more challenging. But do it over and over and just stay with two shapes. Okay? You take two shapes in succession, just over and over and over and over and over and over. And after you've done quite a bit of those, then add a third chord in there. Learn to scan the body for tension when playing your guitar. Tension is your enemy. Find that balance between effort and trying too hard. So scan your wrists, scan your shoulder, your elbow, and your fingers like we talked about earlier. Keep them all as neutral as possible. And again, gravity, let it help you here. It's always pulling us towards the floor. So it's trial and error, but don't force. You got to find that sweet spot and try to live there. So where that sweet spot, like if you're constantly feeling a pressure when you're playing your song, a pressure in your hand between your fingers and your thumb, that is not it. It's very much an easy motion. Yes, there will be, you're going to apply some pressure, but it's less than you think. You're going to have to find that sweet spot for yourself, and it's going to take time. You're not going to find it tomorrow if you're just starting out, but you will find it. And tension hides. It can hide in the shoulder. It can hide in the right hand. If you're tensing up here, the wrist, the thumb, it's going to hide. So if you learn to scan for it and correct it as you go, you'll be miles ahead. Because, like I said, tension is the enemy. It's always the enemy. And patience is your friend, and it's the key to success. You just have to do things over and over and over until they become second nature and they get in your muscle memory. You have to practice it correctly so many times. So just because you're practicing your bar chords a bunch of times, but you only got it correct maybe 100 out of the 300, you're not there yet. You don't have that muscle memory yet. So you just keep doing it over and over. You have to practice it correctly. That's why we have to correct ourselves when we're in the midst of practicing something, so we don't practice it wrong. And then that becomes your second nature. That is not what you want. You don't want the wrong way in your muscle memory. So scan the body, correct as you go. Eventually, the adjustments just happen, and you put your fingers exactly where you need to put them instinctively because you've done it so many times. Speaking of where you put the fingers, I do want to tell you one more thing. When you're placing your fingers, you want to put them straight down, right? If you build the bar chord as you go, if I'm going to play an E minor bar chord on the 7th fret, if every time I have to go, it's really going to slow me down, right? I need it to go straight down. So do not get in the habit of maybe put one, then another, like write down where it needs to go and then adjust. But don't build it like that. Just another bonus tip there. And again, at first you will have to place one at a time, but just keep in mind your goal is to put them right down. All right, those are some of the main tips that I have for you today. You will be glad you put the effort in, and it will pay dividends for you when you know those bar chords, and you can play all over the neck, and you can play whatever song you want. So again, I'm Amy Hailstone. Thanks for joining me today on Groove, Singing All the Things. If you found some value in the episode today and you give us a like and a follow, that would be fantastic. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or whatever podcast provider, if you could follow the show and give us a review, that would be amazing. Help us out a lot. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode of Groove, Sing, and All the Things.